Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Comic Station where we'll be going over the San Diego Comic-Con for 2013. It is a large event that brings everything from any multimedia organization together. Anything and everything that has to do with comics goes to this event. It is the biggest comic event in the world.
All things geek.
Absolutely. And as with Comic-Con, we will put movies first because for whatever reason, comics take a back end.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're all tied into comics, but comic news itself takes a back end. So we will start off just like Comic-Con, going with movies first. First off is from the DC franchises. We have what I think it was probably the biggest announcements out of San Diego Comic-Con is the Superman 2 movie will be a Superman Batman. This will be coming out in 2015, maybe. I actually fully expect this to get pushed back.
I'll believe that.
It is confirmed that Zack Snyder and David Goyer, Zack Snyder did 300, Watchmen, Sucker Punch, and of course Man of Steel, the first one, as well as David Goyer. He worked on The Dark Knight and Man of Steel, and they will be returning. Henry Cavill has been confirmed to be continuing his role as Superman, and Batman is still up in the air, but it is important to note that the Batman symbol doesn't really look like the Nolan symbol for Batman, so we don't expect Bale to be in that, though there is some rumors, and we will never know until they confirm anything.
Yeah.
There's always going to be rumors. But personally, I'd like to see someone else step into the role, especially because if you're going to be having the Dark Knight trilogy be its own section, I'd like to see someone else step into the role. And I mean, it might be a gamble, but I would like to establish that the actors can change without the character changing.
One of my personal heroes, Robert Irvine, is fond of saying that some people like things to stay the same, but more people like new things. And I'm one of those people. I'd like to see a new take on Batman for a new film.
Yes. Of course, also, there are some rumors about a Flash movie going around. Probably some director mentioned somewhere that Flash would be fun, and people ran with it. Nothing confirmed. Justice League, of course, has been pushed back to 2017, and it just keeps getting pushed.
If we ever see it.
If we ever see it. Speaking of ever seeing it, when will we get a Wonder Woman? Anything. Wonder Woman, anything. I think DC has a little cartoon that they're trying out right now, and I'd like to see that grow.
Which is very good. I recommend you look it up on YouTube.
Absolutely. But I would like to see, like, maybe a movie?
Well, in an age where sword and sandal flicks are so popular that The Rock is starring in a Hercules film next year, how come Wonder Woman's not getting one?
Yes. And Lita, you're going to cover Marvel?
Over to Marvel now. First, let's start out with the X-Men owned by Fox, not actually Marvel and Disney Studios. We had some looks at X-Men Days of Future Past, showing off the Sentinels and Trask, who's going to be played by Game of Thrones' Peter Dinklage, along with the first shots of the entire cast together and some new costume appearances, which look pretty interesting, if a bit more on the black leather frog suit from the original films. It was also announced an X-Force movie is in the works, which had been rumored for a while now, but it's been confirmed and they're currently working on it, so we'll see where that goes.
They're just writing it.
Yeah.
So that could be anything.
That's the working on it here.
Yes.
Next up, from Marvel proper, we had Captain America Winter Soldier footage shown, which is apparently very, very good, high in scope with the
Looking forward to that one.
With the a political thriller. The biggest thing that, aside from Cap's costume change, is that his shield has changed as well. So instead of featuring red rings and white rings, it's now sort of a light blue kind of ring. A lot of fans have raised questions about why this has changed, but nothing is confirmed yet. There was also footage shown of Thor 2, and Tom Hiddleston actually showed up in character and costume as Loki to troll the fans during that sequence.
Made a big splash.
In a great moment, which you can probably check out on YouTube. I recommend it.
YouTube, Tumblr, it destroyed Tumblr.
Yeah.
So.
Again, I'm hearing that Thor 2 has all the scope the first one didn't, which is great because I already liked the first Thor movie, so I'm looking forward to this one. And we'll see if Thor can cement himself as a money-making franchise the same way Iron Man did earlier this year. Finally, we got some of our very, very brief glimpses of the Guardians of the Galaxy footage, along with some props, costumes, and new concept art, and Marvel actually flew the entire cast out from London, where they were filming before the event. It was apparently received very well, very funny and action-oriented, and is sounding very Farscape. My favorite part is that the trailer was actually cut to the tune of Hooked on a Feeling, which I recommend you listen to. But the big news out of Marvel is, of course, Avengers number 2, Age of Ultron. The confirmed villain, not Thanos like we all thought, but actually Ultron. But is it the Ultron we all know and love? Apparently it's a new origin story for the character that cuts out Hank Pym entirely, and he won't be included at all until his own solo movie later. So it makes you wonder really what's going to go on with Ultron here.
A lot of people are rumoring that it's going to be Iron Man that actually makes him. Some people are throwing in Hawkeye here and there.
Yeah.
Maybe Iron Man makes him and Hawkeye's brainwaves are used. There's a lot of things going on. Nothing's confirmed, but there's so much stuff to just think of with that and dream.
If I may bring up two last points. There's obviously the question, who is Vin Diesel playing in whatever Marvel role he might have landed? A lot of rumors saying the Vision, some saying Thanos, nothing confirmed.
There was something about saying they had a vision for what his role would be. So
additionally, I would just like to backtrack here. Guardians of the Galaxy confirmed the actual villain rumors that the 3 villains featured in it are Nebula, the Collector, and Ronan, so respectively.
I'm looking forward to that.
Finally, last bit, even though it was on the floor, no one has really been talking about any revelations that came out of the Amazing Spider-Man panel, which is a deafening silence, to say the least.
Yep. Moment of silence. Yeah. And on the actually surprisingly big news is I didn't know people would be this into it. I know World of Warcraft is such a big franchise, but apparently they're coming out with a movie. It's set for shooting in 2014, so who knows when we'll see it, maybe 2016. And the biggest thing I found that I'm actually interested in, it was told that people that saw the trailer and has seen what they're coming out with, it gave it a lot of a Western feeling. And I think that's interesting to me. I'd like to see how they pull those all together.
I know it's being directed by Duncan Jones, I believe the son of David Bowie and director of Moon and Source Code.
Awesome.
Yeah, which is just, wrap your head around that. David Bowie's kid is making the Warcraft movie.
Nice. There was also, speaking of Vin Diesel, the Riddick Rule the Dark, September 6, 2013 movie, as well as Blindside and motion comic prequel are both coming out very soon. So if you're a big fan of Riddick, look forward to that. If you're not, I thought the motion comic was actually pretty good. I did enjoy that.
Nice.
The motion comic goes more about the political intrigue of how he has taken over that society and now he's the ruler, and how everyone's backstabbing him and he's getting rusty. And I like that. Of course, obviously, we're just going to go quick rundown. Kick-Ass 2, 300 Rise of the Empire, RoboCop, Godzilla, and Hunger Games, along with many more were mentioned. And again, San Diego Comic-Con has been a lot of movies. But there was also a television series.
First, we had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's the big news coming out of this one. Featured here, we actually, I like this, Joss Whedon was quoted as saying they wanted to show a clip, but there were problems legally with that, so they just showed the entire first episode at Comic-Con, and it's received rave reviews from many sources. Now, how Coulson survived is hinted at, but never told to us, and it seems to be one of the big secrets of the season going forward. I'm told the black superhero we've seen in a lot of the clips has actually been confirmed, but I don't really know who he is. We've also got the trailer for the new Walking Dead series, along with some things about Game of Thrones, some casting news, but nothing really big there, as I don't think shooting has started yet.
Yeah, a lot of it. Really, it was just a fan fest of all the characters that have died came on stage, so everyone was like, "Oh, you died."
Coming together to mourn our lost favorite characters.
Nothing really new coming out of it, though.
Get ready for more of that.
Yeah, and they really didn't want to touch on what happened with the Red Wedding too much, but that's pretty much it. They didn't really go on to what's coming next.
The next big piece of news is that we've got 2 Simpsons crossovers coming. One with Family Guy, finally, I guess, and the other with Futurama, now that Futurama has been canceled for realsies.
The biggest thing about the Family Guy crossover with The Simpsons is that it's always been assumed that the teams kind of hated each other.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're working together and doing a crossover, big news to fans of those series.
I would point out that it's going to take place in a Family Guy episode called That Simpsons Guy, so it'll be interesting to see who's trolling who in this episode.
Yes. Of course, multimedia, you got the movies, TVs, and video games. So, one of my favorite that I'm looking forward to is Batman Arkham Origins. Biggest news right out of there is no Robin. There was some confusion, but there's no Batgirl. And Copperhead was announced as a villain. I like the remake of Copperhead. It is a she now, and it's a lot more of a, as you said, splicer from Batman Beyond kind of feel. She has a forked tongue, very acrobatic and moving. I know they motion capped actually 3 actresses to do this. They did a martial artist, they did a acrobat, and somebody from Cirque du Soleil.
Okay.
As you can see, if you watch the trailer, you will see the different parts of that play out. And I thought the character came out really cool, really smooth and fluid, though I don't know if that will all be cutscenes when they do that, because how are you going to do that in-game?
That would be a different, although I would say that the Arkham games have always really excelled at game animations, especially in fight sequences, so I'm hoping they bring that to the fore here.
I can really see this as you miss the counter and then she does the twisting and turning. and then hits you and then breaks apart, and then again you get a chance to do a counter.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see that playing in. I don't know how fluid the trailer will live up to it.
Yeah.
The next thing we have for, speaking of Walking Dead,
There it is
Walking Dead Season 2. It's confirmed Clementine will return, and people had tears of joy because it's Clementine, and people love Clementine.
People did.
Yes. So, and the last news, one of my favorites, I'm actually really looking forward to this. I don't care if you call me childish. I love Lego Marvel superheroes. I love the Lego games, and Marvel superheroes just has basically everybody. Everybody.
It's true.
And they just keep announcing new characters, and it just keeps being more and more awesome.
It looks like the Marvel version of Lego Batman, but on crack.
Basically, they just went, Lego Batman has this many characters. Let's just see if we can just keep multiplying. And see if anyone notices that our roster just goes off the screen.
It certainly shows the marketing juggernaut that Lego has become.
Absolutely. Lego can jump from DC to Marvel and nobody cares.
Speaking of which, there's a Lego movie in the works, which already has a trailer, which I suggest you watch.
I am looking forward to Lego movie. Lego Batman had its own little animated
Yeah, I remember that.
scenes. And the Lego movie, from what I've seen, looks hilarious.
I like that they're getting Will Arnett back to voice Batman again, because he's one of the better animated voices of Batman, in my opinion.
Yes.
Which brings us to comics!
Actual comics from Comic-Con.
Who would have thought? It's brilliantly up to Image's 10th anniversary, and for that, Walking Dead, of course.
Of course. Who wouldn't love that? You got more. I know there's going to be more, like, wars and...
Yeah, there's going to be more stuff going on with the current conflict between Negan and the King within the comics right now. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out and plays out carrying into the 10th anniversary. And I'm really interested to see how much Kirkman wants to bring the comics into line with the show or not. Because that's going to be the risk that he'll run with this, so we'll see what he does.
Personally, I want to keep them separate. I like being able to read one and watch another and not know what's going to happen.
I would agree there, yes.
So, actually, Dark Horse Comics had a number of new releases.
It did.
So we're just going to run down them really quick. We actually have a Terminator series by Straczynski, as well as Gail Simone will be doing a Tomb Raider comic. Of course, it's Gail Simone, so I'll buy it.
Yeah.
And there is a Black Beetle. We'll have a second series. I know a lot of you may not care, but I like Francisca's artwork, and it is a really good noir series, so I'm looking forward to that. Of course, video games and comics tie over is the new Halo series was announced. Halo Escalation, this will take place after Halo 4.
Okay.
So not much else has been announced about that. I'm told that we'll be getting a press release coming up in the next few weeks. So I'm looking forward to see how they do that. And they've always done good with the artwork and keeping the story together.
Finally, from the Marvel camp, we have more Galactus destroying universes stuff, because apparently The Hunger will not be a self-contained series. It seems that we'll be running into something called the Cataclysm event, which will still feature Galactus trying to destroy the Ultimate Universe?
So, is this the end of the Ultimate Universe? Does he actually destroy it?
Is it time?
It might be.
I mean, the grand experiment of the Ultimates was to see if we could create a continuity-less universe to have new readers jump into, but it's not that anymore, as we were discussing in our previous review. So maybe it needs a reboot.
Possible. Alright, this has been our coverage of San Diego Comic-Con 2013. Obviously, we can't cover everything, but we picked out some of the biggest and juiciest, and I know you're probably tired of hearing me talking already, and we didn't even cover everything.
It's true.
So, feel free to leave comments below in the article on Front Door Gamer. Let me know anything else we missed that we should add to the article, and keep it flowing. Of course, there's so much coming out of it that we can't cover it all. Oh well. Go watch it. Go keep up with the news. Check out your favorite series, and just get bombarded by the comics. Alright, this has been our special coverage of San Diego Comic-Con 2013 for Comic Station. I am Paul Nisi from Front Doors Gamer.
And I'm Lito Giovacchini of Unstoppable Force Meets the Immovable Object.
And we will see you on the next Comic Station.